few things I'm going to show now. One is indexing. Second is um, adding fields in form. And third, if you have any more questions or I can't think of any more, maybe append table with new records. Right. Indexing is something which is generally used to make your searching quicker for the database information. Like in the instructions which I've gave you, the instruction number 18 earlier I told you to skip, which actually says create an index called index_student, which sorts primarily on last name, sorting ascending, and secondly on the test mark 1, sorting it descending. Okay, so let me get that. I haven't got my table here, but I'm just going to use any of my two columns. Okay, you have those two columns in your table, so you can choose those. Right. To do the index, all you require is your table. So let's say if I use my existing table, latent gym users, and instead of on the last name, I'm going to sort them ascending by the CNAME, and instead of test mark 1, I will sort them descending by my city. Okay, you choose your own fields. Right. Once you have your table, you go to the design view of your table. Okay, that's the first step, because indexing happens in the design view of your table. And in the design view, in the show and hide field at the top, you have your property sheet and indexes. The property sheet is something which you see in the right hand corner, which we don't need for indexing. So what you need for indexing is actually this block, which says indexes. All right. So what you should do is, once your table is in design view, simply click on indexes and the floating panel pops up. By default, there are two indexes already done. Maybe when we done the reporting, I've said that these two fields should be in ascending order or something. So by default, some indexes will be there already, but you have to create your additional ones. So just ignore the existing ones, don't touch it. Third row, I'm going to literally create the new index by whatever the name they have given us, which is index_student. I think I is capital. Please mention this or keep an eye on these case studies, case sensitiveness of the things. In exam, most of the things which they will tell you to do, try and follow the case, upper lower cases. Okay. So that's index_student. Now in the second name, that's the name of the index. Second column, you can mention those two fields. In your case, they are different. In my case, I'm selecting CNAME, which is my primary field, and secondary field is my city. CNAME should be ascending, so that's fine. My city should be descending, and that is it. That's all they expect you to do. Just create one index with these two fields, whichever primary they will tell you. Do that first, secondary second, and set the sort orders. That's all. Take a screen print, keep that in your Word documents, and that will be used as one of the evidence. In exam also, once you will take your screen prints, make sure you give them correct order. In the order they will ask you to do screen prints. So are we clear about how to do indexes? Really pretty straightforward. You cannot test indexes. That's the problem. I cannot even show you now how it will affect your searching, but it makes your searching quicker when you do particular search for these two fields. Okay, and largely it affects if you have a huge volume of data. With the small records of 100 and 1000 fields. It really doesn't do much for us. So your job is to just make sure this window is next and all these settings are applied. Take a print screen and keep it as an evidence. Okay. Right, the next part, as I said, adding fields in the form. For example, right now, the way I have the form here, close this. It has only the fixed number of columns which are actually present in my table. Let's say if I'll go back to my table and in a design view, I'm going to add additional field called test field. Save this test field and then check the datasheet view. You can see in the table, it literally adds new column. Okay, close your table. But if I go back to my form, the test field doesn't appear here automatically because we added the column afterwards and we done the form first. So fair enough, you can just go to the design view of the form, and the form's design view, that's the body of my form. In the top right corner here, it shows you your existing fields. Now these fields will be the existing fields in your table, means list of all the column. So literally, if I'll just click on this existing fields, these are all our columns, and that's our test field, which we just added. You simply drag it, drop it into your form, keep it wherever you want, change its styling the way you have the styling for others, save your form, and if you check its form view, you will see now this form is created. You can't add the plain text field to create this because then Access doesn't know that if you enter something in this box, in which column it should fill it. Okay, that's why you should go to the existing fields. Don't use the blank one because otherwise there will be connectivity problems. Okay, this will have automatic connection with the column of your table. So just drag and drop it and then use and align it the way you like. They might test you on this skill also. They might ask you instruction afterwards on the floor. So that's one more point I wanted to explain to you. Append the table with the new records. Now, this is something also they might ask you in the exam, where they will give you your existing table with whatever records you have done, and they might give you another document which will have few more records, maybe another 30 records, 50 records, and they will ask you to add those new records in your existing table. Okay, so in that case also you have to use the same import feature. Means all you have to do is close this table, go back to external data, check whichever file format they have given you the new data, maybe text file or Excel file, you can just see that. So just click on text file in case, browse the new text file which they have given you. Okay, and instead of import table into as a new table, just click on append a copy of your existing table. Okay, so it will add those extra records into your existing table. Append means add, additional, okay, or amend. into existing records. So with the append, when you say OK, same process, just say go next. First row contains the header. Most of you are again making this error. Make sure you click on this checkbox which says the first row contains the field names. Next, import to the table. Don't rename it. It's the same table, so just leave it as it is. Finish it off. Obviously, I'm just using random files, but otherwise, in your case, it should import nicely and add those new values within the same table. Okay, that's another additional thing you should know.